Hello and welcome everybody to a fantastic April Fool's Day announcement. The prank is, I've decided to release what was the mini project I talked about as its own podcast rather than a new shorter season of Halfwits Failed Crits. While it is a solo ttrpg journaling game, the final product felt way more right for being its own thing akin to a traditional audio drama. And if it does well, we already have plans on how we can make more seasons of it. So, in a minute, you'll hear the trailer and a supercut of the first 3 episodes. But I have one last gift for you before that. We are making amazing progress on planning the next campaign. We've made a rulebook of our own called PenultiMyth. We've made test characters, playtested some of the mechanics, and they have felt great so far. We made 4 major factions with 36 fleshed out leaders within them and have the world map, its biomes, and some key locations all planned out. If all goes well, the new campaign will be launching in September of this year. We are so excited to bring you with us on our new adventures. But now, let's get back to the feature presentation. This machine belongs to Vernon Wright. It just feels empty right now. No. Wrong. I took him home. Or a hole directly into hell and let just a little bit of that sound
have to do things properly.
It trusted me. I lied to all 3 of them. A bunch of wooden pieces and some metal prongs. I happened to kill their pet. At home? Open the box. It's the part of the job that I always hated the most was finding. This is really sticking his neck out for me. Rodent raiders. This is just making no sense. Come on, Bernie, come on. All right. Slow down, reset, try again. Here we go. This Machine Belongs To is a psychological horror podcast following a journal, a machine, and the souls who endlessly obsess over them. Each episode is 10 minutes or less in hopes that your own name won't be found scrawled in the pages just by listening on your favorite podcast app or at halfwitpodcasts.com. October 8th, 2008. I bought this journal tonight. Well, sort of. I didn't really plan on buying it. That doesn't make so much sense out of context, though. It's a lot easier to say I just bought it. Okay, this is going rough already. I was never much of a writer. I could do a little better than most of the engineering students in college, but this is just making no sense. Come on, Vernon, come on. All right, slow down, reset, try again. Here we go. I bought a random box tonight, and inside of it was this journal. I think it technically was an estate sale, but it wasn't official. It was a perk of my job, I guess you'd say. I graduated with my degree in August, and I had a job and an apartment in the city lined up. And then 3 weeks into the job, I was laid off. Something about tightening budgets, recession, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I never understood economics that much. All I know, rent doesn't pay itself. When you're locked in a lease for a year and you don't have much choice, you jump at any opportunity you have or make your own. I guess I did the second one, sort of. In my junior year, I worked part-time for an exterminator, rodent raiders. Terrible name, good exterminator. And decent pay for a college student. I'm still close friends with one of the guys that I met there. And between the begging and the pleading, I somehow managed to convince him to give me some work. I owe him one now, though. It's hard to get a job, and Dennis is really sticking his neck out for me. He's a really good guy. Anyway, that's where I was today. Some rich lady's house to clear out some rats. And damn, there were some rats. I had already been there once to set up the traps, and tonight I was just cleaning up. And I found their nest, and my God, you probably could have sewn a tapestry out of all of the corpses. Ugh. It's the part of the job that I always hated the most was finding them. I get it. People don't want them in their home, but they're just looking for food and shelter. Isn't that the reason that most people do anything? Hell, isn't that the reason I took this job? Way too deep for a sober Wednesday night. Moving on. So the reason we had to clear out this house was because the rich lady died and her family was putting the house up for sale. Or her daughter is, more accurately. It's a shit time to do that now. The news is always talking about how low house prices are, but I guess they can't really control when she died. And it's all on the daughter too, which really sucks. Marissa was her name? Maria? One of the two. She paid me at the end of the day, and we got to talking, and I guess her brother and sister didn't really get along with her mom towards the end, so she's just got to deal with all of it. Might be for the best, though. I remember when my grandma died, and the house got split between her kids, and the legal stuff drove them apart, and, well, at least she doesn't have to deal with any of that. Anyway, at the end of the day, she said I could do more work for her. Well, she said it that way, but it wasn't actually work. She said that the less she had to sell, the better. And she said there was a bunch of junk in the basement that she hadn't really gone through yet. And I could buy anything that I could carry for $20. We're not supposed to do that kind of stuff on the job, but you know what? What they don't know won't hurt them. And I don't think Maria will say anything either. I'd already seen what was down there when I was looking for the rat's nest, and it was mostly boxes of random stuff. Her only rule was that I couldn't go through any of the boxes first. I just had to buy one as is, if I wanted it. Most of them looked like they were Christmas decorations stuffed into some cardboard boxes, but there were a few wooden chests that looked to be in good condition, so I grabbed one of those. It was small enough that I could carry it on my own, and not too heavy, which was good. I didn't really want to ask Maria for help, after everything that she's had to deal with. I grabbed a small end table and balanced it on the top too. I planned on getting furniture after building up some savings, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon, and I was getting tired of eating on the floor. Anyways, got home, opened the box, and it's kind of a disappointment. I mean, I expected something interesting, and it kind of is, but I don't think it's all that useful. Just a bunch of wooden pieces and some metal prongs, bristles, something. I'm not even entirely sure what. They probably all fit together, but I have no idea what they do. And at the bottom of it all was this journal. I wouldn't have even seen it underneath all the wood if there weren't for this little red ribbon sticking out, and the brown leather blended right in. I have never kept a journal before, but looks like I'm going to be trying. Dennis said that when he was in jail, he got into working out, so he looked forward to something every day, so I guess this might work for me. Maybe tomorrow I'll dump out the box and see if I can put together whatever this thing is. Haven't been great at puzzles, but I do like to work with my hands, so maybe it'll be fun to do. It's probably just some handmade crib or something, but I can try and sell it once it's put together at least. So, we'll see. Well, it's getting late, so I don't know. This was a good first start, so I'll pick this back up soon. October 10th, 2008. God, I hate glue traps. It's not what I planned to write about tonight, but it's what's on my mind. We don't use glue traps at work. I asked why at one point, and Dennis told me they're cruel and don't actually do anything to get rid of infestations, but every once in a while, you'll find a family that buys them cheap and puts them out, thinking it'll solve their problems. They usually change their mind when they find pieces of rats stuck to one of the traps, and then the rest of it is bleeding out a few feet away. And that's exactly what happened with the couple tonight. Young, only a few years older than me, trying to save some money, I get it, and they used those traps. It makes sense, but it was bad. Judging by the looks on their faces, I'm guessing they don't want to make the same mistake twice. They said they heard a noise coming from the basement for days before they realized that it was the rats screaming in pain. They had a bunch of glue traps left over, and they gave them to me when I left, thinking maybe I could use them, but no, I won't. Holding on to them at least will make sure that they're not used somewhere else. I'll keep them in my apartment for now and get rid of them when trash day rolls around. So I just got home from that around 6, and I needed to get those images out of my head, so here we are again with the box that I got the other day. The wooden pieces are a lot more intricate than I thought. They're all different, and only a handful of them look like straight pegs. The rest are curved into swirls or loops or bumpy paths. It sort of reminds me of those like table toys that you would see at a doctor's office. You know, the ones for the kids. And my first instinct is to like bend these into that kind of same shape and see if they go together, but I'm too afraid of breaking something before I really even get this started, so it's not brightly colored like those kids' toys either, so that was probably a stupid idea anyways. Right now, I'm happy just to roll the pieces between my hands, feeling at the various notches and textures. It's soothing. Some of them have these little pockets like golf balls. Others have corners and holes that catch the skin of my fingers as I roll them, but it doesn't hurt. Most of the time, it just reminds me to take a look at the hole. Since some of them are small, I can't always see them right away, through the grain. And all of these wooden pegs are all different too. Most of them are the same length, but some are a lot wider than others, which is weird because the material the rods seem to be made of is more or less uniform. I tried sticking a few into different holes, but no luck. Honestly, I'm just too tired to go further than that right now. I do have a day off on Sunday, so maybe I'll look at it then. Tomorrow I have another job. Hopefully it goes better than the one today. Really fucking hate glue traps. October 12th, 2008. Okay. I might have done something. I also may have broken a piece. I had my day off today and I ran some errands in the morning, and it is cold outside. Anyways, so I didn't really want to go hiking or anything, but there's a forest only a few minutes away, and I promised myself that I would explore it at some point. But it's not going anywhere. It'll still be there when it's warmer. Well, anyways, that left me with nothing to do but hang out at home and look at those wooden pieces for a few hours. So, that's what I did. The pieces were exactly where I left them from the night before. So, I resumed rolling them between my fingers, and at one point, I stopped to make lunch. But I kept going while eating, and when I rolled a handful of pieces against the floor, I heard a loud click. Honestly, it's good that I was eating and only using one hand, or else it would have been really hard to figure out where it came from. I rolled each of the pieces in that hand individually, trying to imitate the same motion against the carpet. And in one of them, I heard it again. And I felt it too. I put the other pieces in the box and I examined that piece by itself. It looked like nothing had changed, and I almost gave up and put it back in the box. But I rubbed it against the carpet again, and after a few minutes, it clicked again. This time, I was able to feel where on the part it was coming from, and I looked closely at that area, about an inch from one of the ends. At first, I thought it was a seam, so I rubbed my finger across it, and my fingernail caught on something, and the piece pulled apart. What I had thought was the grain of the wood was actually a thin slit, and inside it was, I don't even know. Some kind of rubber, I think. Kind of reminded me of an accordion with this thin strip of wood at one end and the rest of the piece at the other. I think it's supposed to do that. Nope, that's a lie. I have no clue. They didn't teach us how to decode mysterious wooden rods in college, go figure. If it isn't supposed to do that, then I just broke a piece. If it's supposed to do that, though, how many of those are there? Most of the pieces are covered in grain of wood. So, how many of those are slits like this one? Or is this the only one? Am I gonna have to go through and find one of these on all of these pieces? There's dozens of the fucking things. There's no way I'll find them all. Honestly, I'm just hoping I just broke it at this point and I won't have to deal with that conundrum anymore. I don't mean that. I'm just tired. I've been doing this for most of the day and I just feel like I can't get anywhere. I'm gonna go crack a beer and relax for a bit. Work tomorrow. Maybe I'll think of something else later. This Machine Belongs To is a production of Halfwit Podcasts. This episode was written by Matt Spaziani. Vernon Wright is voiced by Jonathan Swenson. Based on the journaling game The Machine by Adira and Fen Slattery. If you'd like to support our endless toil with The Machine or listen to our other podcasts, visit halfwitpodcast.com or find specific links in the show notes of each episode. Lastly, the most efficient way to build The Machine is by telling friends of its importance in our once meaningless lives. Someday, this machine could belong to you.